Hi, my name is Caitlyn Wagner. This is my second year in the Humanities Academy. My project this year was to teach myself how to draw. Right, so a brief project overview. At the start of this year, I decided I wanted to do something that I knew would challenge myself. I did this for many reasons, but the main ones being that I wanted to see if I could achieve the goal in the end, but I also wanted to see how I would personally persevere through a hard challenge and something that I knew would take a lot of energy out of me. I chose drawing in particular because it's something that I've always found amazing through different art mediums such as like animation, background drawing, cartoons, fan art, just everything. I've always found it so cool, and I really wanted to learn just how to do it. I knew it would be really challenging for me since writing hurts my hand a lot. Therefore, drawing would obviously be a challenge, if not even more, because I'm drawing more intricate shapes. But I really wanted to do something that I knew would push myself a lot farther than what I did last year. So at the start of my project, I mainly watched a lot of videos on YouTube, mainly tutorials on how to draw, and some people doing like speed paints of different artwork that they've done just to get a rough idea of how to do things, because I really knew nothing. So I also drew, at the very beginning, I drew like a hand and a person without any drawing experience, which you'll see later, because I wanted to see my before and after. So I was going on a pretty good roll, getting ready to draw, and then I hit a lot of trouble with my project. The main reason is because I lost a lot of motivation, time, and I procrastinated a lot. I tried to find ways to motivate myself, but none of them really worked. A lot of these included having a set time during the day where I would draw, having an alarm on my phone, trying to draw for at least 5 to 10 minutes a day, just forcing myself to do it, or watching tutorial videos and trying to do step by steps with them. As I said before, none of these really worked for me, and because of this, my project became having less of a physical completion, like having a physical drawing, and more personal to me of just how can I overcome things like this and how can I find motivation within myself. So with different deadlines that came up, like presentations of learning and humanities night coming closer, I tried to draw as much as I could because I started gaining some motivation back. I tried drawing scenes from different art and media that I've seen, or like from YouTube videos in the background. I tried drawing things that I saw outside, and this was all a very big piece that actually ended up motivating me. But it was still incredibly difficult for me because I didn't know exactly what I was doing. I eventually did find motivation. I held on to it as much as I could, which leads me to where I am now. So the final result, as I said, I found that last bit of motivation for like the last month or so of the final stitch for projects. I drew as much as I could, and I found inspiration from things around me, as I said specifically, through different forms of media, like I said before. So kind of like a full circle, I guess. Um, and so now I'm at a place where I don't necessarily have the best before and after, but it's something that I'm really proud of myself for having because I had no motivation a lot of the time and I was procrastinating. And junior year really kind of sucked at certain points. So I'm really proud of myself of where I currently am in my project. And while it's not like the most amazing art you've ever seen, it's not that bad compared to where I started. So here are some of the drawings that I've done. So at the very start is me drawing a hand with no idea of what I was doing. It kind of looks like a hand turkey made in like kindergarten. And then in the middle we have after I've watched like a few videos, looked at some articles online, and then at the very end is me trying to do it as technically as I possibly could, which in reality doesn't look that bad from start to finish. So that's one that I'm really proud of. Some other drawings in between. So the one at the very beginning is what I saw in my bedroom one day when I knew I had to draw something. So I tried drawing something that I thought would be fun and more of a challenge, a little bit of like a break from people and hands. And then the one all the way on the end is something that I got inspired by from a YouTube video, and I live right next to a train station. So I hear the train every so often. So I thought it would be a really cool thing to draw. And then this is probably the improvement that I'm the most proud of. So at the very beginning is me drawing a person with no context of what I was doing again. In the middle is me taking reference of actually a poster of my sister for her senior year of cheerleading. So I tried to just by eye map out where like different joints would be, how different things would be angled. And at the very end is me after watching a bunch of videos, and the difference in this one is really clear on how much I improved. Again, it's not perfect, but significantly better than when I started. So, how did I learn overall, and just some habits of mind? The main one was reflectiveness for me. I really had to see what wasn't working for me and try to fix on it, like reflect on myself and how I dealt with procrastination, trying to work my way around that. The next one, kind of going hand in hand, persistence. There was a lot of days where I just didn't have the motivation to actually pick up a pen and start learning and start drawing. So I really had to kind of just keep going at it and trust the process. And I ended up where I am now. And then the final one is intrinsic motivation. I had to find that kind of spark for me to keep going and keep pushing through something. Kind of what I initially wanted to do, try to find a way to challenge myself and to keep kind of challenging myself to move forward. So just some closing thoughts and overall. I know that I definitely improved during this project, both physically in the drawing sense and mentally through the sense of recognizing kind of my procrastination. Even if it's only a small improvement, like with drawing, it's something that I'm incredibly proud of because I genuinely didn't think I would do as well as I did. My drawing skills aren't that great, but they're definitely a lot better than what I had before. I kind of learned that it was really challenging for me, and I learned a lot about myself through that. But I also learned that this is something I really want to look into the future, maybe for a later project or whenever I have free time. So I can definitely apply what I learned through this, especially when looking at how I procrastinate things. I can apply that to school, and I can apply how I ended up getting motivated just through like inspiration or kind of like my internal voice telling me to keep going. I can definitely apply that to school, especially when I have like a really hard class or a really hard assignment. And I can definitely even apply that to any real life situation as well. But overall, I'm really proud of what I did for this project. And again, it might not be perfect, but I learned a lot about myself, and I learned a lot about drawing in general. So thank you so much for listening.